Hello, Ruby. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
I'm really well, but you're out in nature in what looks like a beautiful park. Where do I get you today?
We're in Liverpool in Faulkner Square.
Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I know you're studying in Liverpool at the moment. You're a songwriter and musician. And it was while you were in Liverpool, in your first year at university at 19, that you were diagnosed with cancer. Now, for anybody being diagnosed with cancer, it's a really difficult thing to process. But just tell us, what went through your head at the time?
I felt very, very shocked, and things like the sadness and the loneliness and all of that didn't kind of come till later on, where I actually started to understand the depth of what was happening to me and how long the treatment was going to be, because mine was 2.5 years. So I feel like if I'd known that when I was first diagnosed, I probably would have felt differently. But at that time, I think I was in disbelief, and I kind of thought, well, I'll be back to uni on Monday, but that just wasn't the case. So yeah.
And the type of cancer you had is a blood cancer, isn't it? It affects the white blood cells. Did you know anything about it when they told you?
No, I'd heard of leukemia, and I'd heard from like TV programmes, and actually someone at my university had passed away in previous years before from it, but I didn't understand any of it. I didn't understand how long the treatment was or what was going to happen to me. I was only going off what I'd seen on films, and it was very different from what I'd seen on films.
Was it? In what way?
They don't show you the long out. They show you the action shots of people running to the hospitals and things like that, but they don't show you the hours you spend in isolation, sat in a hospital room, or the diarrhea or the sickness or the not being able to sleep or the weight gain and the weight loss. They don't really show those sides of it, so I wasn't really expecting what would happen to me.
And you were just 19, so young, starting out your university career. Did you get help? Could you ask for help, emotional help?
I did ask for help. I got to a very dark period in my treatment where I just didn't feel like getting out of bed in the morning, and everything was kind of taking its toll. So I did ask for help, but the NHS waiting list was for 6 months, and there wasn't a psychiatrist available on my ward. But luckily, a charity called Leukemia Care was suggested to us, and they were generous enough to give me a grant, so I was able to get a private counsellor. And even after one session, I felt better, and my family could see the difference. It's the first time they'd seen me like smiling and feeling a bit more at peace in like 6 or 7 months. So yeah, it definitely helped for me. But I had to go privately, and I was lucky to do that through the charity. But other people don't have this option.
So when you saw your counsellor, when you did finally get access to someone, and you say it made a huge difference, can you identify what it was that made that difference for you?
Even just having someone to sit, like the first session, I just sat there and cried and told her everything that had been happening to me. And even just having someone to sit there, a professional to sit and listen, that isn't your parents or your friends, where you feel like you might be putting a bit of a heavy weight on them to tell them exactly how you're feeling. And she was also a life coach, and she gave me some really good pointers of just to remind myself this is temporary and that things will move forward. It isn't always going to be like this, and to speak to myself differently, because I had a lot of issues with guilt at that point, where I was like, have I done something wrong? Is this my fault? So yeah, she was brilliant.
Yeah, and those feelings, I'm sure she told you, completely normal to feel those feelings of guilt. Yeah. And was it me, and did I bring it on myself? And also, you know, what you were feeling about your family as well, not wanting to worry them, not wanting to visit your fears on them. I know your mum has been a huge support to you. What has that been like? Yeah. And how has she managed it?
Well, my mum is a fantastic woman anyway, even before I had cancer, but she had the treatment with me, basically. She was in the room with me every single day. She stayed in every hospital with me and had every admission with me, and she really was my rock at that point, her and my dad. But my mum really did, she took it on with me. So any emotions I was feeling, she was feeling, and she was kind of strong for the both of us. Yeah, she was fantastic.
Yeah, good for her, because you need someone in your corner, really, in that instance, don't you? Yeah. You really do. I'm glad you got the help you wanted, but it sounds like there are so many people out there who don't get that kind of help. And I spent 2 years working with cancer patients and delivering therapy to them, and they were adults. But with children, with young people, where perhaps the confusion, the shock is even greater, there's even less help by the sounds of it. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know why that is, but something does need to change. I know that at the minute, the Teenage Cancer Trust are doing a campaign called Not OK, where you can go through their website and pledge to your local MP to see if we can get access to some funding so they can get a psychiatrist onto the ward so that young people can get the help that they need, because it is just as important as the physical side of cancer. And I do find it bizarre that when we ask the nurses and they're like, oh no, that isn't available, and it goes over my head really, that sort of stuff, because it is such a massive part of it. It's a life-changing illness.
I'm there with you. You need as much emotional and psychological support, don't you, Ruby, than you do physical support and the actual physical treatment. Listen, I know that you're a musician and songwriter, and music is incredibly important to you. In fact, I think you have your guitar even with you in the park today, do you? Yeah. You do? Great.
Yes, I do.
OK, were you writing during this whole experience, or was it difficult to do so?
Not for a long while I didn't write. I didn't feel like it. I was either too fatigued or too ill or too sad, because it was something that I represented with happiness, whereas I wasn't happy at that time. But in lockdown I kind of got back to it a bit more, and I started writing lyrics again, and then I wrote one of my originals called The Game and got that recorded and released. So,
wow, that's incredible. Got it recorded and released. That's amazing. Can you play a bit of it for us now?
Yeah, of course.
Friends that I've known for years haven't been in contact for a while, and they've stepped away from all that's happening to me, but it's all part of the game I hate to play, but I play it anyway.
Beautiful.
Is that okay?
Oh, just...
Thank you.
That really touched me, actually. I'm sure it would have done our viewers as well. There was such heart in it. What was the thought in that song?
It's kind of almost a sarcastic song, because it's always that thing of when people talk about cancer that haven't been close to it personally, they kind of see it as we have any sort of control over it whatsoever, which just isn't true. Or they'll say this person lost their battle with cancer, like it's a game and you can win and lose it, but there are no winners with cancer, and we have no control over it. It's not about how hard you fight or how hard you want to stay here or anything, or stay with your loved ones. So the game was kind of about that, and about my experiences with it, and how terrifying it was with treatment and everything. So.
Well, Ruby, you are an inspirational young woman. You're using your experiences to help other people, and we really value your time today. Thank you so much for what you're doing to raise awareness. Keep spreading your message, keep playing your songs. It's absolutely been wonderful to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Love to speak to you.